Alrighty. What a day.
Yeah, there you go.
What a
Hello,
day.
hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tapcaf Transmissions. I am Corey. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Mr. EckhartsLadder. How are you doing, Justin, on this big Star Wars news day?
Good, I'm busy. Welcome everyone to both. We're doing one of the rare double Tapcaf streams. So I'll just kind of explain what's going on for everyone who's watching on YouTube, because this is a big day, so we're probably reaching lots of new faces. We're basically doing a live recording of our excellent podcast, Tapcaf Transmissions. Links as
Excellent. That's your
always.
name.
Excellent, yeah. You don't think it's excellent?
Well, I'm just saying that sounds like your name. That's the funny part.
Oh, yeah, okay, well, it's excellent, yeah. Podcast Tapcaf Transmissions, though. You can find links to that down in the descriptions if you want to just come back and listen to the audio version later. And if you are listening to the audio, you'll probably notice I published this at a different time. It's kind of important news. So next episode, we'll be back to our normal schedule. Did we decide what we're doing next time, Corey?
Next week we are doing Dark Tide. No, is it Dark Tide Onslaught now? We didn't do the second Dark Tide book.
We did do both.
Ruin. We did both. Oh, it's James Lucino's then. The first James Lucino book. And
okay.
Yeah. Agents of Chaos, Jedi thingy.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yuuzhan Vong number 4 next time.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so start reading if you haven't. And the last episode, of course, if you missed that, we did the Brotherhood book, which didn't really add a lot to my viewing of these first episodes, but we've got a lot to talk about before we get into Kenobi. This was like the day of Star Wars news. Is there something in particular you want to start with? I guess the first thing we got yesterday, the first big thing we got yesterday was the Andor trailer.
Yeah, so Star Wars Celebration is on, and we weren't able to go this year, so we are here able to talk about all the live stream stuff a few hours later.
Yeah.
So there was a lot announced yesterday and today. We got the Andor trailer as well as some Lego tie-in sets for Andor. Those were announced today. The Andor trailer made me more excited for the show than I was, and I think if we were to make rankings of like who was excited for what show at what level, Andor was probably higher on my list than a lot of people's, because I was already a bigger fan of Rogue One than you, for example.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely looking forward to even more after the trailer. I like when they do stuff that's a bit more focused on one planet, or showing like one planet's experience with the Empire or whatever. See those case studies in galactic history, because it seems like we're going to have the Mon Mothma side of things, as well as Cassian's planet and a few other places. But it's kind of like the situation with Lothal in Rebels, where one of the things that I find interesting about the show is like, oh, we see this without it being like immediately galactic importance for every element of the show, like the movies tend to be.
Yeah, so what do you think's going on that planet? Is like a shipbreaking yard or something? People were saying they spotted I couldn't quite understand what the debris was. Someone was saying it was a Venator or something, but I didn't really see that. But not saying it wasn't, I just didn't see that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know that there's anything particularly special about it. I don't know if they have anywhere else they need to break stuff up when you have
under the Imperial yoke somehow.
Yeah, I think part of it is just like everywhere in the galaxy was impacted by the Clone Wars in some way. And under the like later periods of the Republic, there were still a bunch of planets that weren't really integrated that highly, but everything started going more into the galactic war machine in the Clone Wars and under the Empire. So I think part of it is just an element of that, rather than it being necessarily a particular important ship-breaking world or whatever.
Yeah, it's my kind of theory is they're taking people from that planet in particular to. It looks like in one of the last shots we get to see like that it's like facilities on a lake.
Yeah.
And then on a later shot you see what looks like underground, but you can see kind of water falling down. So my theory is that's like some sort of manufacturing plant or something, maybe even something related to the Death Star, where they're pulling people away, kind of forcing them to work at this top secret place. And maybe that's kind of why Andor specifically, or Cassian specifically, is like interested in fighting the Empire. I mean, we know his family kind of has some separatist ties as well, or they did. So they were never fans of even just the Republic, but maybe someone he knows gets yanked off to that kind of secret lake facility.
Yeah. Like the it seems like there might still be some sort of involvement from like planetary governments or something, because the Lego set, uh, the main one that was shown for the Andor tie-in was like the drop ship, like
Mhm.
the transport, which kind of lat-y, but it's
Yeah.
got a crest on it that isn't the Imperial one.
Hmm.
So, and it comes with the like the blue suited people who aren't stormtroopers. So I don't know if they're
Okay,
like
interesting.
Imperial affiliated groups or if it's still like, oh, we're getting more people who are like the on the planetary government side working for the Empire, or what the situation there is going to be.
Hmm. Yeah, my theory was that. See, I kind of figured that was an Imperial lat, and that I was wondering if maybe they were like in the CSA or something, Corporate Sector
Hmm.
Authority. But yeah, that's interesting. So maybe it is just a planetary like security force, because it kind of looked like a demilitarized lat almost, because it's missing like the ball cockpit or the ball cannons and stuff. It
Hmm.
certainly got less guns on it, so that's interesting. I just felt like the trailer did a really great job of capturing kind of like Rogue One did, where it's like original trilogy aesthetics, but like still new. Like the U-wing for me is the best example of that, where like
Yeah.
fits perfectly into kind of OT ship design, but is also just new.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was I really love that trailer too. That one, that instantly, especially like seeing Coruscant and stuff, really kind of it just felt very fresh, kind of
Yeah.
like Rogue One in a way. So good
And
stuff.
we're actually getting a lot of Coruscant in the stuff that's been shown off so far. We've had kind of two major trailers, with the Andor one coming out, as well as today a Jedi Survivor trailer dropped.
Mm.
Our first look at Jedi Survivor, which is the follow up to Jedi Fallen Order.
Hmm.
And we saw the scene with the Powan, who I think a lot of people assumed was the Grand Inquisitor. That was
He's
my initial thought as well,
definitely not
but he
though.
is not.
Yeah.
He's an Imperial Senator, and that is on Coruscant
Oh,
that we
we
saw
know
there.
that. We know he's
Uh,
Imperial Senator.
yeah, if there was a an interview with Stig Asmussen that was posted at the
Okay.
same time, and it has a few
Interesting.
shots with some captions, and there's one that's of him in the office, and it's captioned an Imperial Senator on Coruscant. So
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of obvious it wasn't based on the age. We know that this is 5 years after the original game, which actually kind of puts it around
Kenobi,
Kenobi time.
yeah,
So, and I mean, the Grand Inquisitor is always kind of portrayed as being somewhat young. So Pal just kind of look old because they've got the lines on their face. But
yeah.
yeah, obviously different. So that's interesting as Senator. I kind of did get the feeling that he wasn't a Jedi or a Dark Jedi
Mhm.
or whatever, but I didn't know he was a Senator. That's very interesting. I've kind of got a bit of a theory for this trailer.
Go
Do
for
you
it.
want to give general thoughts first, or do you want me to just dive right into it?
Uh, yeah, go with your theory first. I'm gonna assume that anyone watching at this point has watched the teaser. If you haven't seen it yet, it's like a minute and a half.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
a teaser for a video game. Cal fights some stuff. Well,
Hmm.
not much to say other than whatever our theories are based on it, and maybe a bit from the interview
Yeah,
from Stig. But go ahead.
and I'll admit I'm going pretty kind of like, again, like you said, we've got a minute and 20 seconds. I'm making lots of logical jumps here, but I still think what I'm saying has at least some logic. All right,
It's
so
Darth Revan in the tank, is what you're saying.
that's what everyone's been saying. It looks like Revan, but okay. So the title of the game is Jedi Survivor. Right? I think it's kind of obvious that that's referring not only to Cal, but also probably whoever this is in the tank.
Yes.
Um, my theory is that this Jedi was injured during the Clone Wars, because if you look, he's missing an arm. He seems to be missing his, I think it's his right arm. He's missing his right arm, and he's got very long hair. The last shot of the tank, he's not like in some facility. He's in some place that's covered in moss
Yeah.
and vines and stuff. So I'm guessing he got injured during the Clone Wars. The clones probably weren't aware that he was still alive because he was so badly injured, hence the loss of his arm and whatever else. And they kind of just forgot about him. That's why his hair is so long. If you look at his skin, it's covered in these lines. My guess is that's probably because of like back has been flowing through his veins for so long.
Hmm.
Um, and one thing that I thought was interesting is that the character that Cal is fighting later, One thing I didn't notice too is there's turrets also shooting at him, so I kind of wonder whether it's like a fake out and some training or something. There's
Yeah.
turrets firing at him, but the guy he's fighting with also only has one arm, or at least he's very clearly only using one arm in the fight. So I'm kind of wondering whether it's the same guy. What's going on there?
Yeah.
But
That could
I
definitely
like,
be it.
yeah.
I don't think that's a bad theory. Like, there was one other part of the interview which we can tie into that a bit, where Stig was saying that one of the themes with the game is survival. Like, they're all doing what they need to survive. So they're going to be working with some people that they otherwise probably wouldn't, like unsavory characters. And he said that there was hints of that in the trailer as well. So my initial take is that there's probably some sort of relationship between Cal and the Powan senator where they work together for something. But that could also fit for, if you're correct there, if it is like a training situation and Cal is learning from this Jedi or fallen Jedi who he finds in the back to tank. I definitely agree that he's been there for probably since the Clone Wars, forgotten there, because like it is a very overgrown room.
Yeah.
Luckily for him, there's still electricity going to the tank, or else kind of
reminded me of Thrawn's from his cloning chamber.
Yeah,
like under the lake from the duology.
Yeah, like I was assuming it's a back to tank or some sort of suspended animation thing, but it is possible that it is like a cloning cylinder.
Totally.
But you probably wouldn't clone them like without the arm to start with, so that doesn't seem.
One thing that I found kind of interesting is just like on the topic of arms and hands. I think Cal has a robotic hand. It's never been confirmed, but he always has a glove on that hand, always, no matter which outfit you wear. Even at the beginning of the game, even if he goes in the Imperial Inquisitor outfit that you can get, he's always got the glove on the one hand, and he gets shot during Order 66. So kind of wonder whether he might have a robotic hand that's just never been confirmed.
If the glove does fit, you must have a robotic hand. That's what everyone always says.
Yeah, Jedi law.
Yeah, that's why Michael Jackson, we all know he had a robotic hand.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yep.
So other than the possibility that the tank guy and the lightsaber guy is the same person, any other theories on who either one might have been?
Not really. Yeah, I don't really know. It's possible they're just more Inquisitors, but I kind of don't think so.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they're probably going to try to do something a little more interesting than that. That was initially my first kind of reaction when watching the trailer, especially because that guy that we saw, who you pointed out as a senator, is Powan. So it's like maybe he's the Grandeur Inquisitor or something. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any theories like that?
No, like when I first watched the trailer and saw like the white hair floating in the tank, I was like, oh wait, is that Marin? But beyond that, I had no indication of like who specifically any of it might have been.
Yeah, slow down. It's like, oh no, okay, those are probably man pecs. So
yeah, and
but
there was like a brief moment after Marin was like, oh, is that shirtless boomer guy from Dathomir? But
yeah,
it doesn't look like him either. It looks much younger.
Yeah, definitely. So interesting. I wonder if Cal kind of if he knows him or not. But yeah, well, I'm very excited for this game. The first one was great. Any kind of hopes or desires you have for a follow up?
Not really. Like I'd be perfectly happy with like the same general gameplay we got last time with a follow up on that story. It does leave with the 5-year gap. It does leave more time for Cal to show up and other stuff, and maybe flesh out a bit more of the interim with other stories. It does seem like Cal is probably one of the few video game characters that's likely to make a few more jumps to different types of media.
Yeah,
where we got a bit of like Inferno Squad and stuff in some of the books, but and it's possible Aiden could end up in a live action situation. But I think if I had to put one character from any video game to end up as our biggest chance of a live action cameo, it's Cal or BD we already got that. So Cal is in second place, a solid second place. Not the same BD, but we got the
droid type.
Yeah, and one of the other sets was a BD Lego set. So
cool. We both kind of commented as well on the Kyle Katarn vibes from him.
Yeah.
In this, I don't think that was an accident. Like that
Definitely
shot
not.
from behind, like that's Kyle Katarn's pose. Like it's got to be on purpose.
Yeah, like you could pause at any point in that fight scene, and I think like it
Mhm.
gives such big uh Jedi Knight vibes, like especially when it's coming in from behind Cal, and you can kind of just see like his pants
Yeah,
style and shirt style is even kind of Kyle Katarni.
yeah.
The
If it was
facial
just a little
hair,
more,
like
yeah, yeah.
Cal just is the new Kyle Katarn.
Hmm.
So he's going to
Yeah.
disappear in the middle of whatever war comes after, or I guess maybe the First Order stuff. Him disappearing during that is what happens, and he gets his almost murdered by this next Sith Lord after Palpatine comes back.
Yeah,
True Kyle Katarn fashion.
be great. Um, all right. Anything else you want to talk about for that? We do have a little bit more news. We got the announcement of, well, what we had been calling Grammar Rodeo. It's
Yep.
actually what did they call it again?
Skeleton Crew, John Watts
Skeleton Crew.
show starring
It's
Jude
Jude Law.
Law. Yep.
Yeah. So that
With
should be interesting.
yeah.
We got
So
one piece of artwork, but not really much to go off of.
yeah. I've been getting kind of Stand By Me vibes from the whole Skeleton Crew setup.
Mhm.
Like it's
Yeah.
it's
I think
a
that's,
coming of age thing with a bunch of kids, but more for adults. But
yeah. It could be like Stand By Me or the other kind of. There's also like the Spielbergian, like,
yeah, ET
like
style.
the ET
Yeah.
or whatever
I
else.
really doubt
Where
that the plot is going to be it's a bunch of kids that find like a dead clone trooper's body in the forest or something.
that would be sick. But
They're
yeah,
501st as
like a
well.
Super 8 maybe. But yeah, either way, that would could low key be good. I mean, it's hard to really speculate. We know very little about it. There was also another show announced today that sounds like it's more for children. It's called, well, there was two. There was a Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation,
Yeah.
which my son and I are going to watch. I'm sure he'll love it. And then there was another show set in the High Republic
Yeah.
era, which is called Young Jedi Adventures. And I think that's probably why there was a little bit of confusion about what, because for a while people were saying Grammar Rodeo was going to be a High Republic show, and I think that's probably where some of the confusion came
Yeah.
from.
Yeah, and I do wonder if there's any intentional reference to the Young Jedi Knights and Junior Jedi Knights with that, because it's like it's a
Yeah,
title you could easily come to independently, but
yeah,
uh,
totally.
it's probably going to be the same kind of theming. Probably fewer ancient Jedi Master cats, but
I mean,
who
I don't want to
knows?
say that. I don't want to say that for sure.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I had a list of a few other things now, so I think we got through most of it. We did get a few titles for some of the High Republic novels, but I think it's mostly the High Republic young reader novels, like
I
Search for
literally
Planet X
can't
and
remember
stuff. But
like more than two character names from the High Republic. It's just like the second we finished that last book, they just all left me. So like I don't know what's gonna happen when I go to read these next ones, but like I don't know.
yeah, I think we
I don't
both
know
had
either.
that happen, like between the three books that we already read for it. But I think we also generally ranked them like
Yeah.
medium to high for most of them, especially Cavan Scott's. But
Yeah. Yeah. Still really disappointed with how kind of wave one ended, where just kind of anticlimactic. So
yeah,
yeah, and I'm not sure I'm a big fan of still a fan of the idea of kind of going back again, but we'll see
yeah.
how it goes. My kind of curiosity here when it comes to all the High Republic shows is whether they're like High Republic in name only because they're in that time period, or whether there's going to be like any meaningful kind of um connection with the era.
I think the Young Jedi Adventures one probably is, whereas
Hmm.
like Acolyte is getting much closer to the prequels.
Yeah.
Because I think one thing with Young Jedi Adventures is that you probably don't want to go in with the knowledge that like within 10 years Anakin's going to be killing these characters.
Right. So you got a bit of wiggle room. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, these ones might have died from natural causes.
Yeah, and Skeleton Crew is taking place in 5 ABY, I think, so around the Mandalorian time
Oh, did
frame,
it
which I
say
don't
that for
think.
sure? Okay.
Yeah, that's at least I saw a bunch of articles saying that. I don't think I caught it on any actual streams, like any of the
Hmm.
actual official announcements, but it seems to be at least pretty widely agreed upon, which I think means it was said officially. So
Hmm.
I don't think that's any speculation there.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Anything else you want to talk about before we get into Kenobi on your list? Or
How many more days? Are there any more days of actual announcements? Is there?
I don't really know how it works. I feel like this has been a very unfriendly celebration to anyone who's not there in person. Like, I guess they are doing some of the live streams, but like lots of the stuff has not been.
Yeah, like there was a Mandalorian season 3 teaser for just
Right.
live attendees, which is coming out in 2023 as well. So Fallen Order in 2023,
Yeah.
Mandalorian in 2023, which makes sense because Andor starts in August, late August, I think,
Yes.
the 31st, which means
And it's
that's going to
12
be
episodes
going,
long. So
yeah, so that's September, October, all the way to the end of November, which means that if spring 2023 is The Mandalorian. There's probably a few months in between there. There's a few months in between Obi-Wan and Andor. So
yeah, I'm just pulling up the panel the panel stuff right now. So there is still some stuff. I'll just kind of go over it. Today's Friday, so we not much left for today by the look of it. Tomorrow we've got a Mando panel. People are speculating there might be some stuff. Some people are also speculating the trailer will be shown. I kind of doubt it. They did the same thing with Mando season 1 where they showed exclusive footage to those in the audience, and that
yeah,
never made its way out. And that was like the first look of the show. So I think that stuff is probably going to say audience only. There wasn't a whole lot there. You can find like bootleg versions of it. But yeah, so that's on Saturday. Saturday also, interestingly enough, we get a look at Tales of the Jedi, which it explicitly says on this thing is a animated anthology series of shorts. So we get some idea of what's going on with Tales of the Jedi. Sunday, we get a look at the Bad Batch. It's going to give us exciting hints of what's to come in season 2, so maybe a trailer. And then finally on Sunday, we also have from 12:30 Pacific time to 1:30 a look back at Star Wars Visions. It's called a look back. A lot of people are speculating we might see season 2 announced as well. I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah. I think an announcement could happen. I think if anyone's hoping for a trailer, that's probably several bridges too far.
Yeah,
'Cause
I mean, I'm
it'll
not
be a
going to
few
say
years out, but
it's impossible.
yeah,
It really depends. Like, I also think it's possible that maybe they started work on season 2. Like they had more than maybe they contacted a bunch of studios at once and had some working on season 2 at the same time.
it's
Like who
possible.
knows? But what I'm most interested in really out of any of that is the timing for Bad Batch. Like when is that coming?
Yeah, like that. I don't know where that could fit in, even if we assume that Mando season 3 is like early-ish next year, early spring
They
next
said
year.
I think
Did they actually say
February?
explicitly?
I think they said
That sounds right. So,
yeah. Let me just double check.
and then we know we have Andor season 2 next year as well, which would,
And Ahsoka, and perhaps a movie. So
it's possible one of those gaps later this year between between Obi-Wan and Andor would be probably wishful thinking, but not impossible. Maybe for the end of year slot, if there's like, it'd be weird that there's nothing showing in December, which
that would be weird because December is always kind of Star Wars time.
yeah.
But yeah, so it is specifically coming out, or it is February for sure. At least that's when it's scheduled. Things could always change,
Yeah.
but yeah. So one possibility that we discussed too is a split season.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's likely or possible. I mean, season 1 was pretty long, so
Yeah, I'm assuming it'll be another 16 episodes. So like 8 and 8 split could happen.
Yeah, it definitely could. I mean, they may also be willing to have some crossover as well, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else you want to talk about before we move on to Kenobi?
No, I think that's most of the big stuff at least.
Did you just watch Kenobi once, or did you watch it again today?
I only watched it last night when we were all watching it together because you and Charlie were kind of drunk, so I figured you'd be rewatching it. I was sober.
I didn't rewatch all of it. I mean, yeah, I got a pretty good idea of it. I kind of forget the characters' names. Is that what Ben Kenobi was his name again? But yeah,
Bon,
right? Bon, yeah. But yeah, let's talk Kenobi.
I was gonna rewatch it, but then like I streamed this afternoon, and then the Fallen Order trailer drops. Like, okay, I know what I'm doing until Tapcaf now.
Yeah, exactly. Highlight definitely live action Pauline.
Yep.
Other than that, right off. No, I'm joking. Well, one thing we talked about is they must have really had to have an internal conflict about whether to push this back because of it starts off with a massacre at the Jedi Temple, and like given the events of this past week, you know, it's it's just really unfortunate timing. But I mean,
Yeah. Whether it would
yeah,
be like pushed back, even just adding like some sort of title card, or
yeah,
avoid like making a different decision with how you were going to show off the scene in the first place. Like I get that. Like I think it. Did you pay attention to the group of kids at the start? Like, is the whole one of them is
it's kind
Reva
of
thing?
it's kind of hard to tell, but yeah, I assume one of them is her.
Yeah. So if that's supposed to be the introduction to the character, like you can do something in Order 66 without actually having to show that part of Order 66. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's questionable whether there would have been any appropriate time to release it. Uh but yeah, so
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they've always played. Yeah, I wouldn't expect them to shy away from Order 66 generally, just like, but because of recently. But yeah, um, what were your overall thoughts?
I really enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it more than the first two episodes of Book of Boba Fett. And
Mm-hmm.
I might have even enjoyed it on average more than the first two episodes of The Mandalorian,
Okay.
which is more than I was expecting to. Like, I wasn't particularly interested in the show compared to some other ones coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But it is always nice to see Obi-Wan and like Ewan as Obi-Wan. Like just the kind of a lot of the prequel actors being more appreciated now after
Mm-hmm.
a lot of shit that they went through 20 years ago, and being able just that out of universe element of it is nice. Seeing
Yeah.
how like Hayden's reacting to everything and Ewan. Uh, but the yeah, I'm not sure if I'd put it above Mandalorian, but it's definitely in that
Mm-hmm.
ballpark for me.
Okay, that's pretty high praise. Not quite that high for me. I really loved Mando episodes 1 and
Well,
2.
yeah, I should clarify. I wasn't as much as I enjoy the Mandalorian. I probably also have them a bit lower
Mm-hmm.
than you
Yeah,
for that.
agreed. Um, yeah, there were like it felt very kind of uh it was definitely what I was expecting. Like my dream Kenobi show would be different. Like I think we talked about this before. I would probably want something a bit more kind of thoughtful, a little less kind of action packed.
Hmm.
I don't think that was ever really on the table.
No.
And this really does feel, I think, more than any of the shows so far, like this does feel like a prequel show. Like
Yeah.
I think it captures a lot, good and bad, of the prequels. Like there were parts that definitely felt a little unfocused, but which I definitely minded a little less today when I went back and watched certain parts. Excuse me. There are parts that feel a little unfocused. There's some of the kind of interactions are a little bit awkward, but there's also like obviously a lot of heart there. There's a lot of charm, and the story itself is good, which is what's most important.
Hmm.
And yeah, I overall, like I said, it's got the good. Most of the I really love the prequels, especially episode 3. So it's kind of got that feeling for me.
Yeah, it definitely does have some of the schlockiness of the prequels as well, but
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
to a certain extent that is just Star Wars. So it's hard to use a lot of that as an argument against any particular Star Wars property without it just being an
Yep.
argument against Star Wars.
Right. And like I think this is a show especially where you can't rush certain things. Like you can't rush the kind of emotional development stuff. Like you can't have the Qui-Gon appearance in this episode and
Yeah,
have it pay off. Although after this episode it's like
it's absolutely gonna happen.
almost certainly going to happen.
That's also like the one thing that we know Obi-Wan did between episode 3 and 4 at some point, though, too. So
Yeah, he killed Maul, he cut up a fish, and he talked to Qui-Gon.
yeah,
And that's
like
pretty much it.
Obi-Wan, some homework for you I have. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So that's, like you said, definitely going to be there. And it's probably going to be that like the Inquisitors are going to be a bit of a sideshow to like what's actually going on and like
Mhm.
the kind of main emotional. I do see some people having some issues with like the Inquisitors, especially the main one. I don't really feel that. Like there were
Yeah.
parts where it felt like, they were a bit awkward, but I mean, it also felt very honest to how they are in Rebels as well. Like the
Mhm.
Inquisitors have always been a little goofy.
Yeah,
Um,
I've seen like criticisms of Riva that are saying like, oh well, she just comes in and yells at people. It's like the show is aware of that. The show, like they're doing that on
yeah,
purpose of showing that as a weakness to her. That
yeah,
she's
she's probably
entirely just,
overcompensating.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's just angry at everyone and everything, and it's hurting her ability to actually be effective.
Yeah, and she's like impotently angry too, where she's like slowly running off after the shuttle, and there's nothing she can do because she
Yeah,
just like completely fucked herself by. Yeah, I like how is it the second brother? I can never remember the Inquisitor name. What's the other one?
is that the fifth
Fifth
brother?
brother. Oh yeah, I can never remember, but the fifth brother. I like how he's much more measured, where he's
Mhm.
just like I kind of just want to kill Jedi. Like I'm not here to like torture everybody.
Yeah.
Like, and she's just like I'll kill you for fun if I want.
Yeah, like
It's a,
they have a specific mission of like we're looking for the Jedi. This is what we're doing, and where she's going into every town like, yeah, I'm gonna murder all of you if you don't tell me what I want to know. And then everyone else is like, okay, chill. That's not gonna help anyone. We're just gonna have a bunch
mhm.
of dead bodies on the floor and a bunch of paperwork to do.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. So what was I trying to say? I just got an email saying my Kenobi review got taken down, so I gotta put that on private. It's the YouTube editor. It's so bad. For the I don't know if anyone's interested, but when I was editing my Kenobi video today, I accidentally. If you've edited videos on YouTube, I can almost guarantee you've done this. Sometimes you'll forget a little clip down the timeline, especially where you're using like movies or whatever.
Yeah,
So I did that. I left a little clip like an hour down the timeline, so the entire review got messed up.
yeah. I've never really had any success with the online
It's
editor for
it's
it.
awful. Yeah,
Like I'll have a 1 minute video, try to cut off the last 5 seconds, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna process for 6 hours. Is that cool with you?
yeah. I used it once for I think what was it happen? I forget what happened. I think like I wanted to blur. I think someone's email. Like I was doing a live stream and somebody emailed me
Yeah.
something and like it showed up on screen and like they were fine with it, but I just wanted to be safe. And it did do that successfully, but anything else is just like it's just garbo.
Yeah.
It's garbo time.
So the scene where Obi-Wan and Leia are uh getting into the ship, she obviously stabs the Grand Inquisitor, but we know he's not dead. He has plenty of flying off to do in Rebels still.
Yeah, and I think they've actually shown him in trailer scenes that aren't in the show
Yeah.
so far. So like, yeah. They're
Getting
like, how
stabbed
did
in
they-
the stomach is not generally a fatal lightsaber situation. We've seen plenty of people
No.
come back from
Yeah.
that. So
Even getting your entire stomach like your legs cut off is it seems to be fine if you're
like
angry enough.
Fennec
She
had it
seems to be
worse,
angry.
and she had much worse access to healthcare based on what Bobo had to do there.
Yeah. Yeah, they basically fixed her up in a Radio Shack, so yeah,
It's like a
she's
Radio Shack combo with a tattoo parlor.
yeah, so he's definitely fine. People are like, how did they break lore? It's like
They didn't.
they didn't. Like if you don't like it, that's cool, I understand, but it's not a lore break, it's just it's a fake out. Which you could definitely make a good argument that Star Wars has too many fake outs,
Yeah.
but yeah.
There are plenty of people coming into this who like didn't watch Rebels as well, so there's possibly some stakes for them. But
That's a
I
good
do
point.
think it's a thing they do too much. But I also don't think it's a stretch that like his stomach gets poked and he's still alive, especially on a planet that is like generally Imperial loyalist. It's an Ecumenopolis, probably has, or at least there's a big city there. It probably have some medical facilities.
Yeah,
Got
the
other
sex
people
crime
there with
planet.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, not good.
What did you think of Kumail's character, the fake Jedi?
I really liked him up until the end. I thought his kind of like I still liked him at the end. I thought his interaction with Reva was a little goofy.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really clever to have like because especially at this point where like the Jedi, the legend of them is kind of dying off. People
Yeah.
kind of just think they're like these weird mystics. So to have one and I find it funny how we both kind of knew when he was doing the shutter trick. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's fake.
Yeah,
Like,
I love that
Jedi wouldn't do
idea of like the fake psychic Jedi situation.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me that I called the Raelians last night with them a message.
Did they get back to you?
They didn't. No, they didn't.
Those bastards.
Yeah. I was trying to warn them about Dr. Michael Morbius, PhD, MD. Maybe they'll get back to me later. But yeah, that was funny. There were two things that I really liked. That, and I thought the clone was an interesting idea too.
Yeah.
Where like, yeah, I mean, these clones have been, uh, they've been tossed out on the street, and the only thing they know to do since being born is how to kill. So it's like
Yeah.
veterans in real life have enough trouble. Space veterans are gonna have an even harder time, probably.
Yeah. Especially with they're all like the galaxy's not super fond of clones right now, so even being in the 501st
Yeah,
doesn't get you that retirement plan.
I gotta say that's something I didn't realize he was 501st when watching it, but that's a cool detail.
Yeah.
Do you think he recognized Kenobi?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. Would
Uh,
would you have liked if he had, or would that have been a bit too much?
I feel like they're. I don't know that what that necessarily would have added to what they were doing at that point.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
agree.
could see it being a cool plot point for somewhere, but
Mhm.
and maybe that just leads to it being a better choice to not include it in the first place. But
Mhm.
I'm fine with what we got there. I don't think
Yeah.
missing out the opportunity for a clone to say,
Thanks,
General
General.
Kenobi, let's get some clankers. Is that big of a deal? But
Is that what he was gonna say?
well,
Um.
the coins make a clanking sound in his cup.
Oh yeah. Okay. Um. Yeah. No. I agree with that. This is one of the reasons why I really like the Bad Batch as well. I think the Bad Batch is kind of slept on. I think it's added a lot to Star Wars.
Mhm.
I like and people are wondering, like, one question I've seen a lot is like, well, they just threw the clones away. Why? And that's like, I think the best thing that the Bad Batch season 1 started to do was like show the beginnings of a clone rebellion, and we're gonna see more of that in season 2. But there's a very real reason for like why the clones are like this, and like they are, they've got some
Yeah.
humanity and stuff, and I think that adds a lot to kind of. I think we both still have some disagreements, or we still think that maybe the inhibitor chip thing could have been done better, or maybe not. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, the chip really isn't my fit. Do you think they like got it taken out when they when they left active service? Is that a thing that just or that just doesn't do anything anymore? Is that maybe
well, it seems like based on Bad Batch, like it kind of feels like the chips just stop working a little bit after a while,
yeah.
or like they become less effective because
Mhm.
we see like clones, even those who aren't like who haven't taken their chip out, like we
Who
see
aren't
some of
chipped up?
them. Yeah, they're still chipped up and bricked up, uh, still, disobeying the Empire. So I think that's probably going to be a revelation of like season 2, that like the chips
Yeah.
have a life, or that if you push too much, eventually they just won't work anymore.
Yeah. And then everyone just realizes Crosshair is actually just a shithead. So,
Yeah, well, exactly. That's the other side of it.
well,
Crosshair is,
didn't he not have a chip active anyways? Like, didn't wasn't that the big
yeah,
reveal at the end of season 1 that he
yeah.
is just an asshole?
He's just a dick. Crosshair is just a
Right.
dick.
I need to rewatch Bad Batch before it comes back.
Yeah, I really liked it. I think Bad Batch I still think Bad Batch had the strongest season 1 of any of the animated shows.
Yeah,
I
for
believe
sure.
that. Um, Having said that, I've really been wanting to rewatch Rebels again.
Yeah.
So
I
we might
think
need to figure out a way to incorporate that into the
yeah.
pod.
Didn't you rewatch it like last year as well? Because I know
2 years ago, yeah, I think
I thought you started after me
it
and
might have been
Dana
last year.
started, and then I'm still going on that rewatch with Dana because we've had like Big Brother and Survivor to watch and stuff. But
Yeah,
we're just getting to season 4 now, so
yeah. I think season 3 is my favorite. Season 4 is really good too, though. But yeah, I don't really remember. I think it might have been longer ago that I watched it, but it might not have been, to be honest. It feels like it was pre-pandemic, but maybe not.
yeah. Well, we really should work that in somewhere. Maybe once
Yeah,
shows slow down for a little while.
we could
Uh,
have like just do like 3 episodes at the end of it, each pod or whatever.
yeah, or even like an episode per season or something. Or yeah, we'll
Yeah,
figure something out. We should definitely do
yeah,
that though,
yeah,
especially with how many of the characters are going to start showing up
yeah.
in live action in the next couple seasons of everything.
Honestly, probably even justify like 3 episodes per season, or like I don't. What are they, like 16 episode seasons? It's
A
like
few they're closer to 20. They're 4
It's a little
seasons, so
easier with because like one thing I like about Rebels is it's not like the Clone Wars where it's like the Clone Wars like one season feels like 5 mini seasons with the
yeah,
arcs. And like I like how Rebels is a lot more kind of free form than that.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's honestly like I think the Rebels plot thread and like the Ezra and Thrawn stuff is probably the storyline in Star Wars that I'm most interested in.
Mhm.
And this show's I'm sure not going to touch on that really, besides for the Inquisitors. But yeah,
Like that's clearly going to be part of what's coming up. So
yeah, exactly, yeah.
in Ahsoka and everything, which did
Yeah.
start filming, but so
Sure.
Obi-Wan, he's working at a at a fish farming factory.
I got a bit of a problem with that because the implications from that it's like from I assume is that the fish is from like Tatooine's old seas, but it must be fucking ancient and stinky.
I'm not sure if it's like from the ancient seas or if it's just like a weird desert creature that like swims through the sand and they
Okay,
nail
that makes sense.
somewhere.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense too.
Because like there's a ton of just general sci-fi as well as Star Wars in particular that does treat like certain critters going through the sand almost as like an ocean. It is
Mm-hmm.
the Dune Sea, so
Yeah, that's true.
having
I
more
guess that is
aquatic
true.
looking creatures with it.
Yeah.
Like you have the
Okay.
crate dragons that are really big and they're almost aquatic looking. They're not like
Yeah.
leggy beasts based on at least the new look for them, not the KOTOR version, but
Even the thing from Boba Fett kind of was.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he's cutting up the sushi every day, taking a brick home with him. He's all bricked up on the way home.
To his foreskin horse.
Yep. And his Jawa buddy who's robbing his air conditioner of parts and trying to sell them back to him.
Oh man, that hits me hard because I just found out I got to replace the AC line in my car.
Yeah, I really know what Obi-Wan's going through. My AC's broken too.
I'm just watching that. I'm just like smack. I'm just, like imagine that was me just fuming.
So should we maybe talk about Obi-Wan's state of mind a bit?
Yeah.
It's like I can appreciate what he's going through, and I can understand why he'd be hesitant to like go out and using kind of the I've got to watch the boy situation as a screen to keep him away from having to do anything.
Yeah, people are like Obi-Wan's. People will in the same breath say, "Oh, I love that Obi-Wan has PTSD video," and then complain that Obi-Wan's staying on Tatooine, not doing anything.
Yeah,
It's like, and that is, I think, part of the issue with the prequels in that it's not really. It's not. I don't know if it's a fair issue, but like the prequels are so like they're in a way they're so silly and lighthearted that it's kind of like yeah, Anakin murdered a lot of children. You know what I mean? And like these things are really really bad, but you sometimes kind of forget what it'd be like because it's Star Wars and it's so
yeah.
like he's been through some real shit.
Yeah,
thanks
like,
for moderating nakedhd.xyz chat on my channel, Corey.
no problem. Just remember, you can all go check out naked-hd.xyz if you want to go find enough watch stream girls here.
Yeah, if you want to get your computer infected before the end of the stream, speed run it. But yeah, I like Obi-Wan in this. He's interesting. It's like he's not, like he's been through some shit and he's not as likable. He's not as heroic as he used to be. And yeah, I like that because there's going to be a moment where that changes, I think. And
yeah, like
he's still the same guy he was. He's just like he's not ruined,
Yeah, he's had 10 years where literally all he's had to think about is like how he might have messed up, how he might have been able to do something differently, what went wrong in like the Clone Wars in episode 2. He doesn't think of them as episode 2 and 3. He probably thinks of them as like, back in the day. But
you ever see that video where it was like he's like, you knew my father? And he was like, yes, I was a cartoon character. Or he was a cartoon character just like I was. I feel like I've mentioned that a few times on the podcast, but maybe it's an image, but fucking hilarious.
Like enough pushing is still getting him out of that mindset. But like the idea that like, I'm kind of afraid to do these things now because I don't know if I'm capable of them. It makes sense because he's been through a lot. He's seen a lot of shit happen to the few people he had the opportunity to care about because he's been just like this basically Jedi mind bot for
Yeah.
the entirety of his life. He doesn't know how to interact with people. Like,
hmm
he's lived in the Jedi Temple. He's existed as a Jedi, and that's
Basically,
it in his life.
full-time incel. So
Yeah, like the idea of him living in regular society alone is very different for him. It's not
mhm.
something he's ever had to do before. It's not
Yeah,
something he
no,
really knew
totally.
how to do,
That's a
especially
good point
when
as well.
yeah, like especially when one of the issues with the Jedi Order is how disconnected they got to the people around them, which
Yeah,
is
where Obi-Wan sometimes portrayed as like one of the like more hoity-toity Jedi,
yeah,
um, where he probably had like like a shoe shine droid and didn't think twice about it.
yeah,
um, but yeah, that's a really good point as well. And we know he's not going to be like this forever because he's not like this in A New Hope.
yeah.
He's very heroic and brave, and he's ready to get off planet, and he's ready for Luke to seize his destiny. Um,
He's basically out of a lot of it by the end of episode 2. Like, he's still struggling with things, and like, what would the show be if he had nothing to
yeah.
like? If he was just super action hero Obi-Wan immediately, then
hmm
like he's clearly going through some stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, like it shows us that when he's like he's got to turn the Force back on, and it's like he's got like the rusty water coming out for a few minutes when you turn the tap on for the first time. So it's
Yeah.
like, come on, trying to catch Leia.
Yeah. Speaking of Leia, it is unfortunate. Thank you, Walter, for the donation there. But that her her friend that was posing as her was
Not a
technically
human.
not Winter, but like
Yeah,
it's basically Winter as far
yeah,
as we know, like the
yeah,
new
yeah,
iteration of Winter.
yeah. I like that. Um, yeah. So for those who don't know, who haven't read the books, Winter in the old expanded universe was like she looked a lot like Leia, and she was kind of Leia's childhood best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and she would often do that. Not only that, and then when they were older, she's pretty much more of a child or more of a parent to Leia's children than Leia was, but
Yeah,
she also banged Admiral Akbar on the regular.
repeatedly.
Yeah,
That
like
is
every
entirely
day.
canon. That is not implication or inference. That is 100% in the text of the books.
Yep.
But what do you think of Leia overall
I
in the
liked her.
show?
I mean, it's like some people are gonna, I think, rightfully be like, okay, you basically just made a little version of Leia. Like she's like sassy, just like Leia is, and kids are a little more complex than that. But it's also like it's fun. It's fun. I
Yeah.
liked her. I thought she was a cute kid. I've got kids too, as some of you know, listening and watching. And yeah, I thought she was spunky and yeah, I thought that was cool. Kids can be really bad actors.
Yeah.
The kids can be painful. She definitely wasn't that.
Yeah. They made
Yeah.
her a bit too precocious, and I think she does
Yes.
look a little younger than 10, which is how old she's supposed to be, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
part of what makes some of the lines come off across as like, okay, you're talking a little bit older than you should be. But overall, I thought like the kind of defiance that you'd get from a lot of kids was relatively on point, especially like, oh, I just got kidnapped. Now I'm supposed to listen to this other guy. Like, oh, do
Yeah. Yeah.
force
Yeah.
tricks for me. Now I'm going to run away and do something that's kind of
Yeah.
stupid. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was all pretty good.
Like, that's kind of what kids are like.
Yeah.
Like they don't understand. Yeah, I agree. The casting age was definitely a little off. But yeah. It's like maybe it's like how on Tatooine it's like you go from being 20 years old to like 60
Yeah.
in 18 years. It's like the
Alderaan's
opposite on
reversed.
Alderaan. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like all you're getting is like nice weather. It's like living in like BC or some shit.
Alderaan looked really good. I'm glad we got to
Yeah,
see
it did.
the planet before it explodes.
Yeah, it's funny because it looked good. It looked like it looked bad in a good way, like kind of where like it looked like a cheesy Star Wars planet, exactly
Yeah.
like it did in Episode 3, which I really liked. Like they could have ignored it and went with like more the Old Republic route, which is like less, it's got definitely got like an early 2000s. I was like talking with Hidden Xperia about this, and he was like, yeah, it's got that early 2000s aesthetic. It totally does. The early 2000s sci-fi look, where they could have just instead had just like gleaming, like slender, more modern looking towers. And I'm really glad they kept it to the original spirit.
Yeah. So Seamus in chat is saying the actress is turning 10 in a few days. So that means she was probably
Or like a,
8-ish when it was
yeah.
filming, which when you're that young, like 2 years is a pretty big difference. I don't think it was so off that it makes it like a problem, just that might feed in a little bit to why some of it does make her seem Like she's talking about stuff in a way that makes her seem older than she is, while looking a bit younger than. So, yeah.
Well, it's also funny because like I kind of wonder how old the newborns were.
Yeah, they were
For
definitely
episodes
like 8
3 when they
months or
come out looking like
something.
they're 8 months old. Like, I feel so bad for Padme. No wonder she died. She just gave birth to a 20 pound to two 20 pound twins. Like,
She's lost the will to live, and
yeah,
also
she's
all of her
destroyed.
abdominal muscles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No wonder, Jesus.
Someone better have lost their medical license over that shit.
Saying "ooh" is not going to cut it anymore. Yeah, good shit. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, it's just like Luke looks, I think, a bit closer maybe to age, but
Yeah, we didn't really get a good look at him, and I'm assuming that he's going to have some sort of adventure with Obi-Wan and coming up. But we are. It also looks like we're going to get more of Owen and probably Beru than I initially thought as well. I was expecting maybe a cameo in a scene or two, but it seems like the conflict between Obi-Wan and Owen is probably going to extend a little bit farther in.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting too. I really like Owen's character. Where like it's kind of I feel like Owen and Beru have got to be the characters who have like the most impact on the weirdest ratio of like impact on the main characters to time they actually get discussed.
Yeah.
Like Owen and Beru raised Luke, and it's like the second they die, they're pretty much gone. Like
Yeah.
they'll get like a mention like every 10 expanded universe novels, but like other than that, so I'm like,
I think
I,
Brea Organa takes the cake there, then Owen
yeah,
and Beru, then Bale, who like you'd think Leia would talk about a little bit more as an influence on
yeah,
her, but
he's got a lot of play in the new EU,
yeah.
which I like in Bloodline, but yeah, like I want to see like, I don't know, like these aren't the Dursleys, you know what I mean? Like these seem to be good people,
Yeah.
and like whenever Luke does talk about them briefly in the Legends expanded universe, I can't think of him talking about them a lot in the new EU. It's always positively, so like, and he's obviously trying to protect him, and he obviously cares about them. So I would like to see, some sweet moments, I guess.
Yeah.
Even if it's like at the end where like Obi-Wan kind of realizes like he's got to wait for Luke to kind of come when he's ready, and maybe just sees them have a happy moment or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's easy to come out of episode 4 kind of seeing Owen as an antagonistic force because like it's telling Luke to do his chores as a like
Yeah.
late teenager, which yeah, instead of letting him run off to go to the military academy
Space
for
camp.
the space fascists. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
that was the right call.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, so I'm curious to see more of them. Do we know whether Beru's coming back, like the actress from the prequels? 'Cause
I think she is.
Okay. I knew we knew Owen was coming back, but
I'm pretty sure they were
it,
both announced together.
it's hard. The closer we're like what 8 years away from episode
Yeah.
4.
Look,
It's getting harder and harder to justify.
her and Owen and Obi-Wan have some rough years in there.
Yeah, it's like there's gonna be a scene that shows them like all getting addicted to crack. It's like
That's how
that
they hash
explains
out their differences. They're all just like doing a bunch of meth in the workshop.
Yeah, and like they fall asleep in the sun.
Yeah, that'll do it to you.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's good stuff. I gotta say one thing I thought Vader at the end looked kind of lame. I'm gonna say it for a second though.
Anakin's scars have never looked good
Mm-hmm.
on like the episode 3 version. Kind of held up in the original resolution, but like
Yeah, we were talking about that.
yeah, like higher def versions, it's hard to make that look convincing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't love it, but I don't really. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I didn't hate it either. I just thought it was just like his face was kind of wide, but it's like, why not just show the back of his head or something? It's a very, very nitpicky complaint though. So.
I mean, in episode 6, it looks more like he just fell into a puddle of baby powder rather than he got like completely messed up. So I don't think you need to have him be as messed up as they did. So
yeah, especially where like his face isn't really the thing that takes the most damage.
No.
It's like his lungs, his legs,
His
all his
pride.
limbs, his pride, his dickus. It's like all that, is what really suffered.
Yeah. We're probably going to get a lot more of Anakin
Mm-hmm.
next few episodes as well. So
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. Like, because they gotta, like, I'll be a little frustrated if like they brought Hayden back, but like he's completely wasted. And I don't think they will do that. But like on that topic, I was kind of surprised the Inquisitors knew his identity. You weren't though.
well, like Obi-Wan has to find out some way that
Mm-hmm.
it's Anakin. So like it's a bit of an offhand thing that she went and was able to dig around in archives and kind of get that information. But I don't think it's
Mm-hmm. Do you
like
think
too
all
big.
of them know it, or is that like some knowledge that she has, given that she's obviously somewhat different than the other Inquisitors?
I think that's like it's information that she has because she cared to look it up. I feel like it's the
Mm-hmm.
kind of information that the other like it's probably not just like public knowledge or available to everyone, but these are like Darth Vader's hit squad who have access to a lot of information on Jedi resources. So for like rosters of who the Jedi were, you'd think that'd be information made available to them, and it's probably only a few jumps from there to realize that something doesn't add
Yeah,
up with Anakin's story. So I don't think it's
yeah,
unrealistic that that's the kind of information that Riva was able to get to. And I do think it's something that the Grand Inquisitor, if he wanted to find out, either already knows or could find out, just didn't care to as much. Because like Riva is so obsessed with finding Obi-Wan,
yeah,
right? So it makes sense. Like,
yeah,
who do you go to if you're looking for Obi-Wan? Who are you also looking for? It's Anakin.
yeah.
And finding out from there that Anakin is Darth Vader, like I think that's a logical thing to be able to do if you have the kind of resources that a Jedi Hunter is probably going to have access to.
I'm kind of wondering, like, did they need to say that he was Anakin? Because I forget in the temple does because I know he watches Anakin calling Palpatine. Does he hear him say Vader? I think he does. I think he knows Darth
Yeah,
Vader is his Sith pseudonym. So like they probably could have just left it at saying Vader. Because I remember in Legends, there's like I think it's in Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader,
yeah.
where Obi-Wan is like he's on Tatooine and he hears the name Vader and he's like, oh shit, he's still alive.
Yeah, and Chad is also pointing out that that Riva was at the temple. So if
Oh
like
yes,
there is
okay,
the possibility
that's
that
a
she
good
saw
call.
it
Yeah,
that way, and that
yeah.
the oh I looked it up in the archives is a cover story.
That would also kind of explain why she's a little more like why she's so fucked up.
Yeah,
Like why she's got kind of that weird because she's I like how she's like horrified of Vader in a way. Like at the end, she's like he's
hmm
gonna find you. Like she's like almost warning him, like genuinely warning him as much as she is threatening
yeah,
him. Where like she definitely saw some shit. That's a good point though. But yeah,
yeah,
I was gonna say I knew he saw the conversation with Palpatine. I couldn't remember exactly what they said, but yeah.
yeah. All right. Any last thoughts for the two episodes we've seen so far?
I'm really glad they did two episodes at once. I think it would have been a little disappointing if it had just been the one episode because that's a good setup. But I think the first two really make kind of a better arc. So I'm glad they decided to because originally I think episode one was supposed to come out last week. Um, so I'm
Yeah,
excited to see kind of what's next. And they did the thing they've been doing as well consistently, where they showed us a lot of what we got so far, but not a lot. Kind of not like we haven't seen a lot past this episode, other than the stuff on is it near Nur the Inquisitor base, but
it's nerds. They're a bunch of nerds.
yeah, exactly.
All right. We're gonna leave off the questions for this week. I've been kind of combining them for the last few weeks. Because the way it's probably gonna go for the next couple episodes is we've got the Agents of Chaos book next week. So we'll do questions related to the NJO that we've been piling up for that episode. The
Right.
week after that, I don't know if we'll have anything specific coming out that we need to talk about, so it's a good chance we'll be back on Tales of the Jedi. And if that's the case, we'll be able to fit in a lot more questions that are related to other things unless we get through all of them next week.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
As we got a
sounds good.
couple of the questions that we got this week were related to uh, some of the books that are coming up, a few that are related to like future EU stuff. There is one question from this week related to Obi-Wan,
All right.
and that is, how would you rank Obi-Wan in terms of power? From Christopher. For me, he's definitely in the top 10 for lightsaber duels. Unsure how you'd rank him in terms of force usage, but definitely top 10 for moral character. So where's our Jedi power rankings for Obi-Wan coming in?
That's like Revenge of the Sith talks about that a lot. He's a very good defensive duelist. And like against the Sith, that's very effective. Like we see that like he's basically on his back feet the entire time when he fights Anakin on Mustafar. Where Anakin, I think, if you were gonna like just say which Jedi is more powerful, I think it's obviously Anakin. Like, he's the chosen one and everything else, but it doesn't really matter because Obi-Wan's mindful. He's doesn't lose himself to anger. He's got the defensive technique. So I think like a lot of the battles he fights, he matches up quite well. But he also gets his ass kicked by Dooku in Episode 3.
Yeah,
So
he's
Dooku's a bit more thoughtful.
he's kind of like the embodiment of the whole give yourself over to the Force, and then what the Force wants to happen is going to happen. He's kind of like the key instrument to the Force Jedi, which makes him really damn good, but it's not quite as good as some of the individual duelists for the Sith. Like the Jedi
Yeah,
Council, when they sent him for Grievous, a lot of the supplementary materials are like, we're sending you because you are our number
yeah,
one guy here. So he's
yeah, yeah,
definitely way up
yeah.
there.
I don't think he's beating like Mace Windu in a lightsaber fight most
I think he
days.
does.
Really?
I'd put him
I
above
don't know.
Mace.
I don't think so. Maybe. I just think Mace is like the pure combat Jedi
Yeah,
sometimes. Or
like
Obi-Wan's like,
I guess yeah. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's super one sided either way. That fight. I
fair
think
enough.
that's
They also
no
talk about how
Edmonton
Mace is
versus
like the
Calgary.
best duelist in the order. Although that they also talk about how Obi-Wan's he's like kind of accidentally mastered and perfected his which technique is it? I can never remember the lightsaber. Whatever
It's
his
a
defensive.
Treyu.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the dragon from Neverending Story, but it sounds like that.
Well, yeah. So could be interesting.
Yeah, and Obi-Wan has I think more of the force skills than Mace does, other than shatter points.
Mm-hmm.
So pure offense versus pure defense. I don't know.
I think the Obi-Wan's most impressive feat is in the Clone Wars when he fights off Savage, Maul, and I forget who else at the same time. It's like a three-way battle. I can't remember when it is, but
Savage, Asajj, Menage, a Trois.
yeah.
We should just check if we want to know the definitive answer. We should just go to uh, supershadow.com with the midichlorian rankings for all the
Oh yeah.
Jedi.
Let me look that up.
It's probably on archive.org still.
Yeah. No, I can find it. For those who don't know, Super Shadow was
We're a close personal friend of George Lucas, who posted the scripts for the episodes 1 through 3, as well as 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 before any of the prequels were out, as well as all these weekly insider interviews with George Lucas. And
for a long time it was like not just weekly, it was like daily. Because I used to read it. It's funny because he did this really smart thing, even though he was a total moron. Where before episode 3 came out, a lot of it leaked. Kind of, well, for one, it was a lot different back then because they used to have the episode. Like they used to have a webcam on stage or on set where
yeah,
hyperspace.com members could just watch it. But so on his site he leaked kind of a lot of stuff that was going to be in the trailer. So like there's like a crumb of credibility there, alongside just a bunch of shit.
yeah.
All right, here we go. I'm on most powerful Jedi, supershadow.com. Oh no, it's broken.
Damn it! I
I'm
think
gonna find it.
Grievous was on it as
Most powerful
well.
Jedi Knights. Okay, here we go. He's got it split up. It's just loading. Okay, so this one doesn't have the like the actual midichlorians, but it's got Luke Skywalker, Yoda, Aenon Jertis, Ancient Jedi Master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Kaja Sinis, Mace Windu, Ben Skywalker, Plo Koon, Anakin Skywalker, Cici Denoue, Princess Leia Organa Skywalker Solo, Kyle Katarn, Kia Mundi, Mara Jade, and then it just a number are made up. The Sith one I think was very interesting. Let's see if I can find that.
Where was CC'd an email on that list?
10.
It was like 10th? Okay.
Yeah. Most powerful.
What bullshit Sith name is going to be on there? I don't know.
That's what I'm looking at. Most powerful Sith Lords. Okay. Oh, there's also a separate one for midi-chlorians. So we're okay.
We did forget to call out the fantastic Flea cameo. That's true.
So number 1 is Darth Sidious with Kyber crystal specifically. Then we've got Vader, Bane, Plagueis, Tyrannus, Rage, Maul, Scars, Imperius, Revan, Gore, Vac, Slain,
Al Gore,
Vicrone, Malik, Exarchun, Jaio, Jade, Seer, Secretus, Thrax, Scorch, Craptar, Roas, Ferocious, Mortronic. Oh my god, there's so many of them. Okay, and I also got some more here too. I can tell you guys what episode 7 was going to really be. Oh yeah, we got the midichlorian count where Anakin has 2,700. Palpatine with Kyber crystal specifically has 20,000.
20,000 compared to 2,700.
Sorry, I meant 27,000.
Okay. Well, I was thinking like for a microbial.
Wow, Darth Bane has less than Kiadi Mundi. That's kind of surprising.
Wow, it's all officially true.
Darth Bane is less than Yaddle. Darth Bane is less than General Grievous. He's not even Force sensitive.
I told you General Grievous was really high up on the list.
General Grievous is only has 100 less midichlorians than Mace Windu.
Yep.
Chewbacca has 7,000.
Really? I'd believe it.
Chewbacca's only slightly less Force sensitive than Anakin's or Jason Solo.
He has Loie as his nephew. Like there's some Force potential in that family. Yoda was about to start training him in episode 3. That's why him and Tarful were so close. Like him, Chewbacca, and Tarful. That was going to be the
episode 7.
The title.
I don't think he actually has a title. Oh, The Hidden Circle. It's called The Hidden Circle, written by George Lucas. 30 years have passed since the Battle of Endor, Star Wars Episode 6 Return of the Jedi, where both Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader met their doom. During the decades since, the remnants of the Empire have been defeated and the New Republic formed out of the ashes. However, dreaded adversaries still exist. A rogue group of dark Jedi have emerged that threaten the fragile stability that the New Republic enjoys. Cloud City has been converted into one of many Jedi Temple training facilities. The new Jedi Order consists of about 7,000 knights. Wow.
That's like more than the old Jedi Order.
Yeah. During routine Jedi training on Bespin,
how did he think that they could make 7,000 Jedi Knights in 30 years?
That's a lot.
That's a lot of Jedi Knights. Is there like a correspondence course that Luke runs or something?
Yeah, it's like an MLM now, where it's like,
or maybe there's a lot of survivors.
You get their midi-chlorians and stuff.
Chewie's just out there getting midi-chlorians out.
R2-D2 ends up killing a Dark Jedi, though, which is kind of sick.
What's R2-D2's midichlorian count, though?
3 million. Do you mean, wait, Super Saiyan 1 R2-D2 or Super Saiyan 2?
Super Saiyan 3 R2-D2 with Kyber Crystal.
Whoa, hold on. Episode 8 is called The Republican Crisis, and it starts off with after having their clandestine base destroyed by the New Jedi Order in Episode 7. That's kind of what happened.
Destroyed by the New Jedi Order in Episode 7?
Yeah.
I think it's the Sith base that's going to be.
Yeah. And then the Dark Jedi decide to remain hidden and underground until the clones of Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker are fully matured. Oh my god. Meanwhile, the Republic faces a new war from a group of super commandos who call themselves the Mandalorians.
So we're dealing with the Sith War, and then we also have the Mandalorian Crusade starting again in Episode 8.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe we'll have to do a big Super Shadow review episode, but
Princess Leia bikini pictures, that's right under Episode 7 trailer information. Oh my goodness.
Does that cause a political scandal when those leak in universe? Like, there has to be like footage I don't know if you ever saw the Some More News video of like Star Wars news where they did the
it was really funny
on Jabba's yacht.
Well, isn't there a book where they talk where there's like a recording of her killing Jabba?
If there is, it's got to be fucking Tatooine Ghost or something. That sounds very Tatooine ghosty.
Kind of just curious about Indiana Jones 5 as well. That one could be on the money still.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for our Obi-Wan episode 1 and 2 review. We'll be back on the regular night next Thursday with Agents of Chaos.
Yeah.
Heroes Trial? Jedi Trial? The first one. Continuing our new Jedi Order journey. There will be more celebration news, I'm sure, for us to talk about. But yeah, anything else for you?
Nope, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. And remember, if you're watching on YouTube for the first time and you enjoyed this, and you want to hear more about Darth Rage, the biological hybrid cyborg from Star Wars Episode 9, consider checking out the Tapcaf Transmissions podcast. That's Tapcaf, Tapcaf Transmissions. And you can find links to that down in the description.
Have a good week.